Hello lovely people. In this video we're going to do some keyword research for our affiliate website spicesplate.com. Now where this video differs from the raft of keyword research videos that are on YouTube is none of them come from the place of looking at the intent first. Okay, they just jump straight in, do keyword research. That's not the right approach. You need to know that the research you're going to get is going to move the needle. And yes, whilst their intention is to achieve that, we need to come back a couple of places. Good planning before you do research. So we already done that in a previous video. I'll leave a card to that above in the video. But ultimately, we have already started on that. And if I click on the screen here and show you, you can see we did it on a previous video. We looked at some of the competitors, we looked at who our target audience was, what the intent will be, and more importantly, what our call to action or a CTA will be and how we monetize it. Now, those are important factors because the very way that we look for some of those keywords will identify whether they are short keywords or long tail keywords and whether they're broad or they're exact in their nature to resonate with our target audience. That is a key factor. Okay, so this is where this video slightly is different from others. From this point on, you do your normal bit of keyword research, and that's what we're going to do. So I have a sort of list of things I go through. I pull it all into an Excel file. Now, I know there's no right or wrong. You know, at the end of the day, just getting started is all that really matters. But I'm just giving you all these caveats up front so you can see that this isn't gospel, okay? Everything we do is dynamic. It's marketing 101. It will constantly change. The market will change because our target audience's wants and needs will constantly evolve. And what was relevant yesterday may be not relevant tomorrow, and so on. Okay? So you need to be doing this process every so often just to make sure that the things you know are going to be rock solid and you rank for, it might change slightly. So to give you an example, you know, the latest iPhone as a brand, smartphone, related keywords, they will always be relevant. But the particular model will change. And therefore, people will be searching for the next model, you know, version 10, 11, 12, and so on. Okay, so it's always keep that mindset of there's a bedrock of keywords that will always be relevant to your brand. But likewise, there will be a natural evolution of keywords that move forward. Okay, that's enough marketing. Let's get into the practical of this. So the first one on my screen, so there's the website. First one we're going to do is basically we're going to look at our known keywords. Now, just harking back to the sheet, and this is what we're using, we know the three particular silos we're going to look at is growing the herbs and spices, cooking the herbs and spices to make the meals that much more tasty, and then growing or buying the herbs and spices for a medicinal benefit. So we know that there's a close correlation between what we do with the herbs and spices here. So that's the main impetus of how we're looking under those particular hats. Obviously, the terms herbs and spices, kind of obvious. So anything that's really within that realm of a keyword or a phrase will be relevant. And then we'll also then start pulling out some of the terms that are built underneath them, like the saffron or the cardamom or the eucalyptus as a particular herb and spice. Okay, we also will reverse engineer this, and we will also look at things like inflammation, because obviously that would be relevant to some of the chronic illnesses that the herbs and spices are there for. High blood pressure will be another one. So this is just me, first part of my keyword research is writing down from brainstorming session some of the keywords I know are going to be relevant, and then we'll play with the permutations of those keywords to rank for those particular phrases. So high blood pressure, diabetes, I know is another one. Low blood pressure is another version of why you might take a herb or spice to safeguard that. I know it can also be added into drinks for flavor, so we might use the word flavor somewhere down the road, but I'm not going to go hard and heavy in here because this normally takes me 2 to 3 days to do effective keyword research because you're going back and forth. You discover something, then you go and search for it. I'm just trying to give you a quick overview, and this will be a reasonably long video, of all the stages I go through and rinse and repeat. So we already have our known keywords. The next one then is looking at how some of those rank within Semrush. So we can put that into the magic keyword tool. So let's jump over onto the internet. I have my Semrush account open here. Let's come over into the keyword magic tool. And in this very essence here, we're going to put in the word herbs. Okay. Now we're looking from the US point of view, only because it's bigger rather than the UK. But again, we could do the either or approach only if we feel the relevance of it is 100%. You might have a herb and spice that's only out in the US as opposed to the UK. It would pay to do your due diligence. Okay. Now you can see the list of keywords here. There's 430,000 keywords that mention herbs. These are some of the frequency of the most popular terms, and I could pull these off into separate lists, such as, like, if I'm looking for the best herbs, there's 12,414 of them, and those could be pulled off into a separate list, and Semrush allows you to build these lists up and then refine from that and then pull down the data. Now, I'm not going to do that for this video because that would take me quite a long period of time. I'm trying to do this quite short and brief, but to show you what is possible. You may not necessarily have this tool, but don't worry, we will use a free tool in a minute to give you an either or approach. Again, we know herbs are relevant to the garden, but what we're going to do for the sake of this video is we're going to narrow our focus down. We're only looking whether it's medicinal. We could grow it, obviously that's the gardening, or the cooking. So I'm really going to look through the eyes of medicinal cooking just for the use of this video, but I will go and do my due diligence for gardening and growing as well. So in order to do that, I'm going to narrow the filter down by using the advanced filter here. And I am going to go with, I'm going to go with include keywords that include medicinal and include cooking. Okay. And I might put cook as well, just as a shorter permutation, because that might be easier. And I'll also put medicine in as well. So I've got my 4 permutations there. And if we press apply, that will narrow down now that 430,000 to just simply 21 keywords. Okay, that's a massive drop down, but that's fine. We can open up the, we can be a lot more broad within our niche, and we can look for other terms as well. But I'm happy with that. So pressure cooking medicinal herbs, great. Cooking with medicinal herbs. So obviously what it's taken here is the play of all 4 words. Now, if I was to exclude the cooking side, I'd probably find more in the medicinal. If I excluded the medicinal, I'd probably find more in the cooking. Okay, so that's probably the smarter approach. I've got either or here. So let's go back in. Let's just take out the medicinal ones here. Let's reset this. Whoop, come back in. So we put in cook, and we'll use a short abbreviation. So we cook herbs. So it's very, very obvious. We're not going to use ing or cooked ed. We are literally going to go the shorter version. Now we have 3,000 to play with, like cooking with herbs and spices, sage herb cooking, cooking with unstable herbs, yeah, this is great. This is a little bit more towards where we need. We've widened the perspective of what we're looking in our niche. Let's pull this down now. So let's export this. We can export it as an Excel file. So we'll bring that down. Happy days. If we double click on that, it will open it up in Excel. Click on the first one, hold down Shift, come all the way to the bottom. Ooh, okay, it wasn't as far as that. It was around the 2000. Yeah, has its moment, I'm sure there's probably I'll have to learn the short code for this. I'm trying to do this real world, just for your benefit, good people. It is there, it's just refreshing. It's the time it's taking it. Come all the way to the bottom, hold down the Shift, hold the last one, selects the whole thing, copy. Then I come into the one I want to go with, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to chuck those keywords into a specific sheet. Okay, so I'm going to open a new sheet, and I'm going to call this keywords from the magic tool. That way then I know it came from Semrush. I'm simply going to put Control Paste. Okay, didn't get the top. I need to insert the top in there as well. Insert. Let's just jump back on there and take the column headings, copy, and pop those in there, paste it. Happy days. If I hold that down and double click between the two columns, it'll itemize each column to the correct length. The other thing I tend to do is I always make the top of my headings a different color. I also then put in the filter, and I also then fix the top row as well. Freeze the top row. So when I scroll down, it stays put, and I can also then filter from this. So I'll just bring that in slightly, and I can bring that in slightly. There we are. So we can see that all on screen. We already have some keywords there. I just save as I go along, because normally this sort of process, I will build up thousands of keywords. But this is why I favor Excel over everything else. The power of grouping, sorting, and filtering, which we'll do in a subsequent video, will allow me to hone into particular terminology, which are my keywords and phrases, in order to go and write my content. Okay, so let's jump down to the bottom of that. So it's ready for the next lot of keywords. So we've done the first part of this task. We have done herbs, cooking herbs. We should now do spices. So let's do spices. And this is what I said. It takes hours, normally a couple of days to do this, but hours of just going through one tool to glean as much as possible. So now we're looking for the permutation of spices and cooking in order to get what we need. And we have 3,862. Let's export that again and double click it. And there it is. Select the first column, come all the way down to the bottom one, hold down the shift, click again, copy, come across into the first file, and let's drop that in there. Perfect. And keep coming down. And this is where normally when I do this, I could be in the hundreds of thousands of keywords. It depends on what topic you're in, but that's kind of where I would expect to be. Right, so we've done the cooking. Now let's do the medicine side. Okay, so let's include the keyword here for spices, and then we'll do it for herbs. So here we want the word medicine. And I could go for the E, but also I know medicinal would be another version of this. So if I only go for an abbreviation of it, that should be fine. We'll see if it goes for that rather than looks for an exact word. It'll come back. We'll see. So it's picked up medicinal. Has it also picked up medicine? Yes, it has. So that slight play of knowing how you can educate the search engine within Semrush to find the words or the frequency of words you want without narrowing down for medicine or medicinal. We're collecting both. Got 298 in there. Fantastic. Obviously, I didn't expect it to be as big as the cooking. Cooking's going to be a larger silo completely. But even so, it's got value to the audience that's looking for herbs and spices to provide medicinal benefit. Okay, so again, we just work through this process. I'm only going to do it briefly just for this, but I have many more terms I can check and work through. Back in, and we will just do the last one there. We'll change it to herbs. Return. It's already picking in the included word of medicine, or without the E, obviously. So we pick up medicinal. And there we are. We have 4,900. So there's obviously more herbs. There's interesting fact. There's more herbs used within medicine than there are spices. Kind of makes sense. Okay. So that's already educating me as to what I'm doing, which is my intent, so that I know when it comes to actually writing content, I know where I'll heavily lean more one way than another. Okay, so again, let's just copy that through. Bring that in. And we save as we go along, just to make sure we've got all that good and vital information. The only other thing I do then is just a little bit of housekeeping. I close the files down that I'm not using, so I don't fill up my my cache as I work in, so it impedes me. and I come all the way down to the bottom so I can add more in if need be. But already you can see there's 12,000 keywords there we can play between to find things that are going to be relevant. And the easiest way to do that, we will do an analysis in another video. For the moment, let's just glean it and we can work from there. But obviously we have the ability to look at volume, we can have a look at the competition, we can have a look at CPC. So should we do some paid advertising down the road, we know where we are. Okay, and we can look at how popular it is across different search features, search engine results page, and we can see then really how people are building out that content. All this is keen insight for us. Right, so we've done Semrush, but if you don't have Semrush, the next best alternative is something called Ubersuggest. And in here, you can come into the keyword analyzer. It does pay to log in. So I've logged in under my insight before action. The rhyme and the reason is it will allow you to filter and export the keywords in the same manner as Semrush. So again, we come into the keyword overview. Here, it would allow you free searches per day, unless of course you have an account. So we put the keyword in there and we're going to put in there herbs, and we're going to keep it as simple as that. And we'll do a search. And you can see there's 33,100 keywords all built around the intent of herbs. But as we already know, that's a bit, it could be the growing, the cooking, the medicinal. We can narrow the search down. So if we come in now to the keyword ideas, this would allow us now to export to the CSV because we're logged in, and we can see some of the results we've got here. Obviously, if you've not got a paid account, it will limit what's available to you. But again, you get a similar sort of effect as Semrush. You get the search volume, so that tells you how popular that particular keyword or phrase is. The CPC, or the cost per click, so you know how much you would be paying if you were trying to rank on Google for that, and obviously pay towards being found. How difficult it is to rank for that particular keyword or phrase, and then the SEO difficulty in order to build it out. That's as simple as is there. Now, the other benefit that you get here that's already included within Semrush, and you can, obviously break down, I can show you here. You can see it here, a broad match, a phrase match, or an exact match. You could say it has to be the way that these words are built together. So how to grow sage rather than sage growing. You could go for an exact match. It's no different in Ubersuggest. You can have exactly the way that you want to set that phrase up and make sure it's specific to the way you need it to be. It also provides something else that I go and get somewhere else. It will give you related keywords and phrases, and it will also give you the questions built around this terminology of herbs. But we will go and do that somewhere else where, again, as a free option, it's available and it's a little bit more complete, in my opinion. Okay, and it obviously gives you questions, prepositions, and comparisons as well. Now, this is only really relevant when we start looking at the content. We're not doing that in this video, and there is a rhyme and a reason for that. We need to build up our keywords, a bedrock of them, a wealth of them, and then select from them the most important. From those, then we go and start doing our content, because we know that will be the content that will resonate with our target audience quicker. It's easy to go and write content that's not relevant because you think, well, I could write this, write that, and all that. But not having that strategic approach will guarantee you will not grow your audience and not grow your traffic to connect with that target audience. So therefore, picking and choosing the right keywords is crucial to start growing your website. More of that in the next video. For the moment, we're just grabbing as much as we can. Okay, so that's Semrush and Ubersuggest. If we come to Google next, we can play what's called the Google alphabet. Okay, so the Google alphabet is, if we type in herbs, you can see it's already remembered some of my cache ones there. If we remove those, let's remove those for a moment. So now you can see it's giving me some organic suggestions. Herbs and spices, Clydach. Don't know what that is, but Clydach I know is an area. Herbs on the hill, herbs de Provence, herb list, herbs to grow. So it's already making suggestions, but let's play it from the Google alphabet point of view. So if I type in herbs space A, now it starts giving me what it recommends as its suggestions. herbs and spices lists, herbs and spices online, herbs and spices storage. So we can talk about herbs and spices in many different ways. But do they answer the intent of our growing, our cooking, and our medicinal? And the simple answer is no. But we're not going to worry too much about this. We're just going to glean and then use the power of Excel to filter to match the intent. Okay, so for the moment, let's just be greedy and grab everything. Okay, so I'm not really interested in any of those. If I look at the B, herbs beginning with C, herbs beginning with S, again, all kind of relevant. If I look at C, herbs, cats don't like this. Now you could see if you worked all the way through the alphabet, that would be a long-winded process. And I hear you saying, oh, that's going to take ages. No, there are 2 tools out there that are free that you can use and speed up the process. The first one is called Answer Socrates. Socrates. There it is. .com. We click in there and we type in herbs and we can look at the area in the English. It will search and that will bring it down. And that will look at the people also ask a PAA. It'll load suggestions in a minute. It'll get there and it'll do the Google alphabet automatically. The other one we will do in a minute, which is Answer the Public. But again, that only gives you, I think it's either 2 or 3 free searches a day. So this is where, you know, you can get around that obviously with a VPN. So you can do all your research heavily concentrated within a set period of time, which is exactly what I do, more so when I'm tasked to do that for clients and I need to provide them with the powerful keywords out of the wealth of all the keywords they do or they don't rank for. Okay, so that's still loading suggestions. For some reason that's taking a little bit longer than I was hoping for, but let's be more specific. Let's do herbs, let's do medicine, and then let's search for that. So no questions found. You've got to love that, haven't you? That is surprising. It's drawing a blank, but that doesn't surprise me. That's okay. Okay, so let's jump over into Answer the Public. It's another tool, like these tools, they look for the organic questions being typed by your target audience into the search query box. This is the search query box. From that, they know the most popular terms. Okay, so if we come into this one now, it's simple, we put it in there, we put in just herbs. Okay, so keep it very general for the moment. We can narrow down. Now, what's quite nice about this one is it also does schematic diagram, not schematic. I can't remember what these diagrams are called. Not Venn diagrams. One of these diagrams. I can't remember. Someone stick it in the comment below and let me know. But again, you can see from herbs, it asks the questions, and you can see how it starts building out questions, prepositions, comparisons, everything from here. And there's quite a few of them it does here. You know, like herbs near peppers, herbs near roses. Let's have a look verses. So herbs and spices. So herbs and wild Wilton. I don't know. Is that a spice or herb? I don't know. Herbs and spices, Atherstone. Herbs and spices list. Each one of these you can consider, weigh and measure whether they're worth getting or not. But more importantly, when we jump up to the top, you can see it's found 80 questions, 56 prepositions, comparisons, alphabet and stuff. We can simply download it. Our shortcut. And again, brings it down as a CSV, a comma separated value file, which we can happily bring into our Excel file. So you can see it's there. So all we do is simply select on the outside there and copy that, come into our main file, and here I'm going to put rename that now as our PAA, people also ask, that's predominantly what it's called, and we can simply paste it in there. Again, clicking on there and between one of the columns, double click, and it will respace it all out. I highlight these again, as I always do, in the yellow, put the filter on there, and okay, it's a slight difference here. Now, if I keep this top one here, then that means that this is no longer the top row. So when I go to fix or freeze the top row, that will only fix the top one. So if I click that, it will only make the top one and my headings will disappear. If I click it again, it will unfreeze it. Okay, sorry, let me unfreeze it. Unfreeze panes. Okay, so all of it goes up. Okay, now there is a way around this. If you click below the row you want to keep and then click freeze panes, it will keep what you're after. Okay, so it can do that both horizontally and vertically. So if we unfreeze that again, you can see that's all working. If I wanted to keep that fixed and those two visible, come out to where you want to be and then freeze the pane. Now it both works that way and it also works horizontally as well. Okay, so just for this, I'm going to clean it up. I'm literally going to delete that top one. I don't need it. Yes, I know I searched on herbs, but it's kind of obvious there. So I'm just going to freeze the top row. Little tips and tricks always. Okay, and then let's save as we are. Now I can build on this. I can go back in there, and I also want to do the one for spices. So clicking on the logo takes me back to the home page, spices, and let's search for it again. Again, whatever your brand is, you would search for terms there. Now, in time, once we've done a bit of refining of our keywords and phrases, we will return to these tools and we'll put in longer statements to narrow down the intent a lot more. So again, you can see it's picked out a lot. It's very busy, which is great on these charts. And you can download these charts if you want them. Simply click on save the image. It will convert it, generate that image, and in a minute the button will come there. You can just simply download that and it will come down like that. So if you wanted to print those out, you could. I don't tend to use that, to be honest. I'm more interested in just the titles and move on to the next stage. So again, let's download this. This is everything to do with the spices. Double click it. And the difference I do here now is, again, I choose the top, come all the way down to the bottom, select it, copy, come back over into my main file, and I simply put it to the right. I don't put it underneath because it's a different set of questions. Oh, I lost that one then. I didn't want that one. Let's come back out a minute. It's a different set of questions, and I don't want that to be included within there. You can if you want, because you can filter. It's purely up to you. There is no right or wrong in this. I build these files and I change up my process every single time, depending on what the client wants. But I have a sort of mythology to it as well that helps. So again, putting that in there, I'd have to select all of it if I want the filter, even if it's in the columns that are redundant. But again, that's a minor consideration. I don't use, if I select those and double click, it'll realign those ones. Done. I don't use Google Sheets. Google Sheets does not have the power of Excel when it comes to sorting, filtering, and grouping. It's just not there. And it makes the process that much harder. Here, I can see what I'm looking at. But more importantly, when we come to analyze this, we can break this down and we can put in the word like medicine, press a return, and already you can see we're giving reference back to stuff. So that'll be in the next video, how we start refining, but we're already accumulating the data. I just wanted to give you a quick view into that this is a worthwhile process and we're actually accumulating correct information. So we have done that. PAA, the reason I call that PAA, people also ask, is if you come on the internet and you type in how to grow herbs, typically most web results will come back with this. This is called your people also ask, PAA for short. They tend to start anywhere between, 3 or 4 accordions there. And every time you click on it, that silo opens up to a sub-silo, topic to subtopic or subcategory. So when I click on it, it will give me a snippet. It will give me the URL that's relevant. If I close it, 3 has now become 5 because it's taking me on a tangent. Now, there are better tools for this. There's quite a few of them out there. The next one I use is called Use Topics, but we will do that in a separate video. The rhyme and reason is we need to narrow down to the main punchy keywords to get what we want. Okay, so where we go next? Let's jump into Google AdWords, another great place for it. Let's look at herbs. And the right reason for this is once people start spending money, they're going to be conscious about the keywords or phrases that are going to deliver the result. They're not going to spread it wild across multiple keywords. They're going to choose the ones that are going to deliver results. Okay, so where we need to go for this is under the tools and keyword planner. Okay, and this will give us what we need. Right, close that. Discover new keywords. Yes, we're looking for herbs. You can put more than one in here as well if you want it, but I'm going to treat them separate for 2 minutes. Okay, so let's get results. We're looking at the UK. Again, you can define it by country. So herbs itself, again, is a high volume being searched monthly. It's already giving me suggestions or silo suggestions, very similar to what our Semrush was doing earlier. Let me come back on there, where it made these suggestions there, where it sees the frequency of keywords, pulls out those commonalities of keywords and phrases, and says, right, all these keywords, we see a frequency of things that are referencing supplements, food supplements, medicinal herbs, or herbal supplements. This is brilliant, okay? I can broaden my search even by including more and more of these. At the moment, we're looking at 823. So if we click on the additional ones now, we can include those. Let's press get results, and that should now take us up. Well, it's taken us up quite a bit. Are we looking for herbs as supplements or food supplements? Yes, because we're going to use them from the cooking point of view to improve what we're doing. So we'll click on that one as well. We will also then type in food supplements and press return. That now includes that, and get results. Now we'll jump up from 2,175 to 5,000. Okay, is it used in medications? Yes, we'll click that in a minute. Necessary supplements? No. Good supplements, essential supplements. It's just going off on a bit of a tangent. I do like herbal supplements and natural medicine. So we'll do medications, get results. And we'll also then do our medical, natural medicine and herbal as well. And where were we? Natural treatment, natural supplements. Where were they? No, natural treatment. Yeah, go on then. Let's see. And have we got everything yeah, I kind of think we've got enough now, covers the bases. There's 8,000 there that we've got for the moment. So we need to download those keywords now. So let's download it as a CSV. We're not taking it into Google Sheets. That'll download our CSV. Happy days. There it is. And again, with this, I'm going to bring it into a brand new page, purely because the formats are all different. Okay, so it means that we do a bit of interrogation across multiple worksheets, but we've got the right information contained in one file, and that's where I call it resource file. Okay, absolutely essential because it's your main resource. Copy the whole thing, come into your main file, and some of these files that I've done before now. So this is AdWords. Let's rename that. Some of these files are literally 20, 30, even 50 megabyte in size. I don't mind that because they do what they need to do. Right, okay. You can see that there's a lot of different searches going on here. I don't need all this information over here. You know, I don't need it to categorize it in the drugs and all that. What matters to me is this first column and the average. I need ability, some sort of data or analytics that can use this to filter. So the first few columns are more than adequate. So I'm just going to tidy this up a minute because that's all I need it for. Delete those. I don't need that. We've done herbs. We need to now go in a minute and we're going to do spices. We go through the same process. Let's put the headings in there. Again, filter it and fix the top row. Select the front, double click between the two columns. It's laid out a little bit better. Don't need that one, delete it. Happy days, let's save it. Save as you go along. Okay, so you've got your file. I'm very happy with that. I know we're looking at herbs first and foremost. You could see it was going off on the other tangents. Xanax and tramadol, those are drugs, pharma as opposed to natural remedies. But again, we're not worried about what we're gleaming. We'll do that in the next video. It's a case of let's get it all in there, and then we'll find the golden nuggets. Right, let's hop back over into Google AdWords. So let's start a new search again. So let's jump in there. We'll just click one of these and we can delete. We don't need, we've got food supplements and all that now. Let's start with just the simple word of spices and press return and get some results. And again, it will give us suggestions. Food products, seasoning, yes, definitely seasoning. Herbs and spices, yes. We're not going to do the herbs, we've done that one, but we'll do the crossover. So we'll do seasoning and we will also do herbs and spices. And then let's get results. Does it make any other, relevant suggestions? Spice blend, don't know is a short answer there, but we'll stick it in there. It's better to have it, not need it, not have it. Grilling sauces, no, I'm happy with that. Again, we've got 3,800 keywords. Let's again download that as a CSV and we'll add that now into our list. We can add it underneath because I'm happy with the format there, not a problem. Bring that in. Open it up. So we click that. We don't need the heading. We are under column G, so we'll come all the way to the bottom of column G and click while we hold down Shift, copy. Back into our main file, always at the beginning, come all the way to the bottom and paste. And now we have a load of information regarding both spices and herbs, whatever they may be, what their intent is, but we'll worry about that later on. And again, let's save that. So we've done that now. Right, okay, so at this point we have got plenty of content and keywords. Now, my last thing that I tend to do is we have gone by the analogy of known keywords. We've done a little bit of searching on the internet for what we know is relevant. Just check, I've got my main file there. But one thing we haven't done is explore our competitors. We understand the marketplace, but we need to look at our competitors because there is crossover of those two. We call that gap analysis, where a Venn diagram shows us where we rank for the same keywords as our competitors, but we rank for different keywords compared to our competitors because we don't know their intent and their value proposition, what they want to be known for, may be totally different for us, i.e., our herbs and spices are there for cooking, growing, and medicinal, but we might be competing against a medical database where they're more looking at the medicine. They might be looking at studies and clinical trials. We're not interested in that at all. Okay, so therefore we're always looking for the overlap. Now to do that, we call that competitor analysis. We already did a little bit in the previous video. I'll put the details in a card and at the end of this video as well, where we already pulled out 5 per site. One for the medicinal, as you can see here from Healthline, which is a medical one, and 5 for the growing and 5 for the cooking. Now, for the sake of this video, and to kind of keep it relatively short for you, we'll only do the medicinal, but I will go off and I normally spend a good day looking at every perceivable competitor I can, because they've done the hard work already for me. They're the ones already ranking on page 1, so therefore I simply need to steal their keywords and phrases. So if I find enough competitors within my niche, then they'll tell me the keywords and phrases that I need. And in doing so, I simply look at as many competitors around that niche, glean all the keywords and phrases, and I have a raft of loads that I simply need. I will always find more, but I will find the main ones, the ones that are driving traffic. So that said, right, let's look at healthline.com. Okay, so let's open that back up a minute. And we will simply do this through Semrush. You can do it in Ubersuggest, but you will need a professional tool to do this. So let's just close down a couple of these headers. So the Healthline, I simply want to take the domain name, copy that. I come now into Semrush and I need to come up to the top screen. I'm off the keyword, the magic keyword tool. I'm on the main part now. I simply enter the domain name in here and I press return. Now I know Healthline is a massive site. It will probably rank for a couple of million keywords. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, quite a few keywords. Right, so we need to narrow the intent down because we can't sift through millions of keywords. It's not practical. So we come on to organic research. And just for those of you who don't have a Semrush account, I will leave an affiliate link below. You can trial it for 7 days. It will have some limited facilities unless you become a paid member, but it will allow you to do some of this research for you on a 7-day trial. I'll leave the affiliate link below. Okay, so you can see they rank for 10.3 million keywords, just a few in the US. Now we're looking at the US predominantly because it's larger and therefore gives me more of a wider net cast. But this is where now we come into positions and we start narrowing our intent down to just spices and herbs. Okay, so we want to find keywords relevant to spices. Okay, and we can do it just by simple keyword there, but we're not. We're going to do it by the advanced filter because we want to look for both in one go. So we want spices, and we'll also then include, we want to look for herbs as well. Okay, so containing that, just double checking the conditions it allows us to look at. So we're looking for any keyword includes the words spices or any keyword includes the word herbs. Apply that, and now it will do its refining of the search and it narrows it down to just simply 208 keywords. So now you can see they've found keywords where the two of those are relevant in the same term. Now, I've gone this extreme, but that's not right. I want it to find keywords with either herbs or spices in. And if it's got both, it's got both. But I don't want to exclude one for the sake of the other. So I need to come in to do that. And the easiest way is come back to the main filter and we'll simply put that in there as spices and we will press return. Now this should give me, I would reckon, a couple of thousand, at least a couple of hundred. It's guesswork, but I would imagine it's be a reasonable number. It's just going through this. Okay, we've got 1.2 thousand. Okay, so that's fine. Happy with that. And if we look at some of those, Encyclopedia of Herbs and Spices have included the herbs as well. Deeper World Spices, and oh, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word. Ayurveda, I will get used to these terms. This is the joy of discovering a new niche. Best spices and seasonings. There's a nice terminology there. So again, just quickly, these are the things of going back and forth. Seasonings. It's quite nice in there, so I'm not going to forget about that. So again, we export this now as a Excel file. And in this one now, we are simply going to build up our competitor keywords. So we'll open that up now under Excel. And we need to glean all these. Come all the way to the bottom and copy. Happy days. Back onto my main file. And you'll see I already have something listed as competitors. But alongside that is the keywords from those competitors. So I'm going to type that in. I've already made a start on this because this is normally where I spend the bulk of my time. I'm stealing the hard work earned by others by using a clever tool like Semrush. You can use Moz, Ahrefs, Majestic, Ubersuggest. They all provide this sort of functionality. Semrush I've used for probably just shy of 10 years, at least 8 years. I will put an affiliate link below. I'm very familiar to it, and I know its strength is in keyword research. I then title it Healthline. Double click the box in the corner. You can see it goes to a solid bold. Double click that, and it fills it all the way down to the bottom of this. Now, the rhyme and the reason for that is because I can filter by the company. I can filter by a selection of keywords or a keyword within the phrase. And I can also go by position, search volume, and how much traffic those particular pages the keyword lives on drives. So I've got a lot of information here. We'll do that in the next video because there's a lot to consume here, but it really by building the right intent here and the volume of keywords, we can go off and interrogate it and find the keywords that are going to drive our brand. Okay, so back in, we've done the first one, which was obviously spices. Now let's do herbs and return. That will give us, I would imagine there'll be more than the spices, because being a medical site, it provides more medicinal. So 1.2, I'd expect it to be higher. Never know. There you are. Wow. So already what we discovered earlier, that herbs are more relevant than spices when it comes to medicine, is already leaning me in the right direction of confirming it by seeing that. And again, let's download those 6,500 keywords. And we will simply add those underneath. Okay, all the way to the bottom, click and copy. And come back into the main file, click it underneath. They're all Healthline again, but obviously looking now from the herbs point of view. And I scroll all the way down bottom there, and I begin the process for the next competitor, and so on. Already we're up to 9,500. Normally when I do this process, I'm into a couple of 100,000 keywords. And it's not about the volume, it's about having a sizable database to sample to find the right keywords. And I cannot stress the importance of that. You have a small sample set, you do not have statistical confidence to sample that on a balance of probability to find the right keywords. I know there's a lot to digest, but that is statistical confidence. That is 101 when it comes to metrics and analytics from data analyzing. The bigger the sample size is and the methods by which you can break it down to see the commonalities or the higher probability of certain keywords and phrases, the more relevant that keyword or phrase will be. If I can put it in more plain English, is if you have a selection of red, green and blue, but more people are holding up a flag that's red, statistically you know red is more important. It's the same analogy or mythology that we use in this process. Hence the reason I go Excel as compared to anything else, because this is where it shines for finding those right keywords. And we can keep building on it because it's a dynamic file. Okay, I will put a sample resource file below if you want to download that and get started, so you're not trying to watch the video. I will put an empty version of this template online, and you are more than willing, jump in there and edit it. It's dynamic. I only show you how I use it, but you can twist and change it any way you fancy. Right, that's first and foremost, that's enough of an idea of how I go the competitors. I will run the same process now for Hopkins Medicine, WMed, and so on. But the next part is just as important. I don't sample by 5, I sample by more. So let me show you what I mean. And this is the last stage in our keyword research here as it stands at the moment. Another wonderful aspect of Semrush is competitors. Now, when I select on the competitors here, it will show me competitors that are relevant to Healthline. Now, whether they're relevant to the intention that we've got, our niche on spices and herbs, begs the question. But if we run the numbers, we soon find out. So looking in here now, we can see WebMD, that would be another competitor. Now, I already know because they are listed here. So let's choose someone that's not on that list. We can see there is clevelandclinic.org. If I click on that, the URL will change. I can now jump over into the positions. The filter is already there for herbs, and it's pulled out 1,500 I can think of the word, 1,500 keywords containing herbs, and you can see that's in there. So great. So clevelandclinic.org clearly is another site we can analyze. We can see from their landing pages some of the keywords that are driving traffic, and they're not big in the elements of traffic, but we won't worry about that moment. That's the next video. So again, I do my due diligence and I start exporting. And under this, and I'll show you what I'm going to do now, is, again, let's just bring in those keywords. Copy. And we come back to our main file. We come under the keywords. There they are. Let's pop them in there. And this is Cleveland Clinic. Double click it, and that's those itemized. But again, let's come into here, and we need to have that listed as well. So it's Cleveland Clinic, and I do this. It's quite methodical. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I kind of like building up big lists, so I know I've done my due diligence. But more importantly, when I walk a client through this process, they don't want to know how I did it. They want to know the outcome. But when I quickly walk through these individual work tabs, they can see due diligence has been done. And that's a key important factor. Plus, it's an opportunity for them to turn around and say, oh, did you check out this one? Or did you check out that one? Because they realize later on somewhere down the road, there's one they forgot to originally tell you about. And you might have got them, you might not. The only way to know is keeping track. Hence the reason I do a resource file, okay? And again, let's just jump in there. We can see there's the URL. Let's copy that, bring it into our Excel file, paste it, and I'm happy that keeps score where we are, and save. Now I will rinse and repeat this process for as many competitors as I can find in that area. I can also look at it from a Google point of view, just typing in, you know, medicine and herbs as a permutation, and we'll do one of those in a minute. But then I will work through the process of growing and cooking, and I would not be surprised I'll probably have well in excess of 100 competitors that I've looked at. If you build a large sample size, you have more surety you have gleaned all the keywords that are going to be relevant to your brand. No, that's not technically true. You won't glean every single one, but you'll probably be somewhere in the high 90%. You'll have the main ones. That's the important factor, okay? So let's just do the last part of this process. Let's come on to herbs, as we know, which are more important than spices. So herbs and medicine, let's just put the two together. It doesn't have to make sense. Google's very smart at identifying each of these entities. And press return, and lo and behold, the NHS comes up. Healthline comes up, who we've already checked. Hopkins Medical, which we already had. URMC, Rochester Education. Never heard of them, but we could do them as well. The Herbal Clinic, Medicine Plus, JAMA Network. Do journals, herbs as medicines. I like that. So I would work through a good few of these from page 1, page 2, and even into page 3. It is time consuming. But this research will serve you well, because that bedrock of sampling such a high number will ensure you don't miss the relevant keywords. And then when we come to the next video, you will have so much to sample, you will find something that answers every single question. So I will work through this. I won't bore you in this video because it's a long consuming process. Needless to say, I'll put the music on and do this for a couple of wee small hours, and then probably return to it tomorrow and carry on until I've finished it, that I feel I've covered the bases. So that's all I need to do for the moment. Again, I will just simply take that URL, pop it into Semrush. Semrush already remembers the modifier herbs. So I only need the root domain as opposed to the individual URL. 621 keywords, so it's not as big as the other one, but again, all this is so right. Look at that one, herbs good for menopause. Brilliant. This is the content I know I will want to write. And we export that to an Excel sheet, and we just keep building up our resource file. It's a bit of a long-winded process, but this due diligence will serve you well. And having done this for numerous clients over the years, and I still do it for clients now and again, because depending on what industry they're in, it does make for exciting. And this is another knowledge bomb, absolutely vital, is when you do this research, you will find something through discovery. You will find, like I have, that herbs are more important in medicine than spices. already then I know where my content, whether I write it or my content writers write it, where I will lean and put my resources first and foremost, because that will get me the result. You'll only know that if you've done this process, the element of discovery. Okay, and this is JAMA Network, and double click and save, and I will just keep rinsing and repeating this process now for the next couple of hours, and tomorrow I'll have a complete file. As I said, I will put a sample file below for you. Please go off, do that. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. Likewise, if you like the flavor of watching me doing this over my shoulder, please, subscribe to the channel, ask any questions, and hit that like button. And otherwise, well, no otherwise, by all accounts, I will see you in the next video, where then we will take this and we will start pulling it apart to find those golden nuggets. Anyway, that's me. Oh, on a quick side note, I wrote a book about this with my good friend, Itama Blower. So if you want to discover how we go into a little bit more depth and the rhyme and reason behind it, there is a book on this, but likewise, this is the process as well. Anyway, that's me whittling enough. Thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Keep well and do your keyword research.